Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I mean, I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see. And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see. And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
Jerry Lee Lewis was the only rock star in the 1950s besides that of Little Richard, who threatened to knock Elvis Presley as the king of rock and roll off of his throne. Jerry Lee Lewis, like Little Richard and Elvis Presley, acknowledged that he was being used by spirit beings. Lewis was keenly aware that Satan was using him to lead his fans to hell. In fact, we have actual audio recordings of Lewis arguing with Sam Phillips during the recording sessions for Great Balls of Fire at Sun Studios, where Elvis Presley also recorded.
How can the devil save souls? What are you talking about? Man, the devil in me. But then hell, I did Christian. So I don't care. It ain't what you believe. It's what's written in the Bible.
Well, wait a minute.
And it's what is there, Mr. Phillips.
No.
It ain't what you believe. It's just what's there. If it's not what you believe, then how do you interpret the Bible? H-E-L-L.
In a bizarre exchange, Jerry Lee Lewis confessed to Sam Phillips that he was possessed by the devil and on his way to hell. Several years later, Lewis continues to maintain that it's a fact that he's on his way to hell, and he states that it worries me. Lewis states of his fear of going to hell because of his continued service to Satan, that quote, "I live with it every minute of every day of my life."
A lot of times he feels like he's working for the wrong side, you know, that he's playing the devil's music.
I am who I am today is because I can look directly into my face and find my soul. It's there. It's not sold. I didn't sell it. It's still within me. I still feel it.
Take me back in time, rewind to 89, introduce me to this life of crime, but we was blind. Let me take you back in time, rewind to 89, introduce me to this life of crime, but we was blind. Bring your artillery and roll with a nigga. They could never take the soul of an MOB soldier, nigga. Indeed, it was misery driven by my own demons, cause they was killing me. I cannot be sure I'll be saved soon. Catch me dipping to the light of the straight moon. It's getting deeper now, let me get your mind right. Fuck your enemies, nigga, grip your nine tight. Tonight's the night, murder, Mr. Lucifer. Pictures of the devil duck when he shoot at ya. It's all political, running from the future. Escaping in the fog, live your life like a hog, nigga. Me and my closest road dog. Life eternally and never lie there. Why cry now? Full of you but never came a gamer. Ain't trying to hear it. Evil spirits how to total strangers. Your life's in danger, prepare, nigga, be aware. Cause we ain't scared, MOB till I die. When we ride, niggas disappear. Fill it up with pistol smoke. Never forget to blow a hole in his head. For leaking information to the feds. The burning bed with the telling sign. Two high guns busting everyone, yelling everybody die. Why the fuck they fuck around? We left them in the fog, bleeding like a stuck hole. Me and my closest road dog. Left them bleeding like a stuck hole. Me and my closest road dog. God forgive me for my crooked ways. I didn't mean it, knew I fall in love with money the first day that I seen it. Maybe now they can understand. Rock your patience, it's clear that my only fear of death is reincarnation. My only fear of death is reincarnation. I use my last breath to reach the whole nation.
Snoop Dogg, another of rap's biggest artists, recounts in a movie that he scripted from an actual dream he had about how he gave his soul to Satan. The devil offers him both fame and riches for his soul. Snoop appears to accept Satan's offer, and as a result, he is rewarded with unimaginable riches that are a big part of the hip-hop scene. The sad thing about this whole thing is that this depiction is so close to reality. Snoop is seen at one point becoming possessed by Satan, and at another point he is seen praying next to an inverted cross. Today, many of the most popular themes in rock music are the promotion of witchcraft and the occult, antichrist themes of blasphemy, alcoholism, drug addiction, sexual perversion, murder, rape, adultery, fornication, violence, hatred, bestiality, suicide, and death. Robert Johnson is considered the king of the Delta blues. He's also considered the father of rock and roll. It is very significant that Johnson would be considered the father of rock and roll, as it is alleged that he had sold his soul to Satan in Clarksdale, Mississippi, in exchange for guitar-playing abilities and worldwide fame. Ray Manzarek, the Doors keyboard player, points out that Jim Morrison was a shaman.
Jim's contribution to music was that Jim was real. Jim was real on stage. Jim was real when he wrote his songs, when he sang his songs in the studio. He was not a performer. He was not an entertainer. He was not a showman. He was a shaman. He was possessed, man. He was possessed, man. Possessed.
I let my cheeks slide down the cool, smooth tile.
George Harrison, like a Pied Piper, used his music as a tool to turn people from Christ to Satan. He seductively tried to draw Christians in by singing Hallelujah and My Sweet Lord in an effort to deceive them. Harrison knew about brainwashing children. He said, quote, "The main thing is to get the kids, nail you when you're young, and brainwash you. Then they've got you for the rest of your life." AC/DC's song, Hell's Bells, is Satan's quest to get the masses to join him in the eternal fires of hell. AC/DC also sings about selling their souls to Satan for rock and roll fame. AC/DC guitarist Angus Young has also admitted to being possessed. He points out that the spirit manifests while he's performing on stage. He says, quote, "By the time we're halfway through the first number, someone else is steering me. I'm just along for the ride. I become possessed when I get on stage." Judas Priest, who is named after the apostate apostle Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus Christ, is fronted by Rob Halford, who promotes both homosexuality and Satanism. Glenn Tipton of Judas Priest says it's like someone else takes over my body. Richie Blackmore, who was the lead guitarist for two of the biggest bands in the 1970s, Deep Purple and Rainbow, has spoken candidly of his contact with the spirit world through seances. Richie Blackmore says of these seances, quote, "You can't be very tired, otherwise you'll get possession." Blackmore speaks of a time that he brought another guitarist to one of these seances. He states the next moment he was knocked out of his chair and he was foaming at the mouth. He was unconscious. Joe Cocker, like many other rock artists, has admitted that when he performs, something seizes control of his body. Joni Mitchell, who is considered the queen of folk rock, also speaks of a spirit entity which has assisted her musical success. Time magazine reported, quote, "She deeply believes in a male muse named Art, who lends her his key to what she airily calls the shine of creativity." Jimi Hendrix, as we shall see later, admitted that he was demon-possessed and his music just came through him. Hendrix used his music to help indoctrinate a generation into New Age occultism in preparation for the kingdom of Antichrist. The evil spirit that possessed Hendrix hypnotized audiences and used his music as a subversive tool for youth brainwashing. Jimi Hendrix admitted to Life magazine, quote, "I can explain everything better through music. You hypnotize people, and when you get people at their weakest point, you can preach into their subconscious is what we want to say." Meatloaf is yet another of one of the many rock artists who has admitted, quote, "When I go on stage, I get possessed." Anton LaVey admitted that, quote, "We, speaking of the Church of Satan, have had contact with a lot of people over the years." He went on to say that, quote, "David Lee Roth, who was formerly of Van Halen, recorded an album named Yankee Rose, which are the last words in the Satanic Bible." The evil influence that musicians so powerfully wield over their millions of fans is undeniable, and many of them even glory in it.
They take it quite seriously. I look into the faces of our fans, and I see that they've been touched by the Dark Carnival the same way that I've been.
We didn't do nothing. We're just serial killers. Sure, we got a little problem with necrophilia. I admit it, but you came to us first, right? Just keep this in mind. They're playing our CDs when you're not home. They're playing my tapes in your own car, in the tape deck. And I'm influencing your children.
May God deliver the children from what USA called the alluring terror of Korn's music.
Let's take a moment to see what it has to say right here.
Rock guitarist Craig Chaquico says, quote, "Rock concerts are the churches of today. Music puts them on a spiritual plane."
Says right here, you gotta be saved in order to go to heaven. We will no longer be oppressed by the fascism of Christianity.
Satanist Marilyn Manson has admitted, quote, "I don't know if anyone has really understood what we're trying to do, to lure people in. Once we've got them, we can give them our message."
None of those people outside realize how much power is in this one room. Let them hear it!
I woke up, freezing. It was exactly 3 a.m. 3 a.m. is the demonic witching hour. It's a way for demons to mock the Holy Trinity. It's an inversion of 3 p.m., the miracle hour, which is traditionally accepted as the hour of Christ's death.
Știu deja, într-o zi o să ajung cineva. Și știu, da, că nu e doar imaginația mea. Eu știu deja, într-o zi o să ajung cineva. Și știu, da, că nu e doar imaginația mea. déjà. You're still déjà. You're still déjà.
I can't understand why it's this close. They talking about there's no evidence that I ever sodomized her, even though you put that all over the paper. And every time they take a quote out of this courtroom, they take a quote from out of her mouth, which is, you know, the stuff to put me in jail. It's nothing that's been true. I just want print the facts so everybody can sort it out. My life is ruined because nobody has a chance to get the facts.
That there was no semen found.
No semen found, no forceful entry, no entry into the anal, no nothing, none of that. You know,
no fingerprints on the gun.
No fingerprints on the guns, you know what I'm saying?
What is your response to the allegations that were brought by the district attorney in Santa Barbara that you molested this boy?
Totally false. Before I would hurt a child, I would slit my wrists. I would never hurt a child. These are totally false. I was outraged. I could never do something like that.
This is all about my image. This has nothing to do with me. This is all about my image. It's like MTV, all the papers, they building me up. Now they destroying me on the same image that they perpetuated.
Thank you for, giving me the opportunity to be heard, in a positive light. Yeah. Well, just in a fair light. I first came to Arizona, man, and I remember one day coming from the studio at 6 o'clock in the morning and pulling over on the highway. We like 4 cars, just to watch the sunrise. And it was at that point that I fell in love with Arizona. I said, you know what, this has to be God's country, because I'd never seen anything as beautiful as that sunrise. Then I met the devil in God's country. It's not so much who, it's what, what happens and the things that the devil does. It's not so much a person, even though he acts through people. You can't call one person the devil.
Joe Arpaio?
You can't call any one person the devil. You can't do that because no one person has enough power to be the devil, And, it's through all these hardships that I realized that, this is God's country, because I met the devil here. Because if I hadn't met the devil here, I wouldn't realize I was strong enough to overcome the obstacles that the devil would place in my path. And it's by overcoming these obstacles that I realized that this is God's country. Because he helped me get over these obstacles. He helped me get over these hurdles.
Okay, so but when you're done here, when
Yeah.
you're out of here,
I'm not looking back.
you're not coming back?
No, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back for a show. I'm not coming back for a visit. I'm not even driving through the states. If I'm in a plane and they gotta fly over it, I'm gonna go around, okay? I deserve the same grace. You know, whether I know you or not, I pray for my friends, family, loved ones, and as well as my enemies every night, you know, because we're all God's children. We're all God's children, and we all deserve the same grace.
I think people are curious how a guy, you've sold how many records?
28 million.
And made millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
How do you end up in here?
I think everyone who's watching knows how I ended up in here.
I don't know if they do.
I'm pretty sure they do. Anytime you get it, I'm pretty sure they do. You know, there's how do I end up in here?
Why you keep going back to Miami?
Yeah. Well, I have a fiance in Miami, and I have a baby, 3 months. Yep. I miss all my kids, man. I miss my kids. That's the hardest part about this. I miss my kids. But
Do they come and see you?
no, they're in school and stuff like that. You know, my baby will be here in a couple of days, though. My baby will be here in a couple of days. My baby will be here. Don't judge me. Well, you shouldn't judge anyone. But don't have an assumption on who I am until you've met me.